what the general just told you. The Southern Poverty Law Center, in a massive sweeping indictment, has been charged with allegations of fraud and using the banking system to perpetrate that fraud. I just want to talk about a couple of brief things here. The Southern Poverty Law Center themselves advertise to raise money to dismantle violent extremist groups for a period of at least a decade. They use their donor network to raise money to purportedly dismantle violent extremist groups. However, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, used the money they raised from their donor network to actually pay the leadership of these very groups. I just want to say that again. They used the fraudulently raised money by lying to their donor network, thousands of Americans, to go ahead and actually pay the leadership of these supposed violent extremist groups. The groups, as the general laid out, include the Ku Klux Klan, the United Klans of America, Unite to Right, National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, the Aryan Nation Motorcycle Club, and the National Socialist Party of America, and also the American Front. In at least one of these matters, our investigation revealed that funds were used to facilitate the commission of further state and federal offenses, totaling over $3 million. Furthermore, our investigation revealed that the Southern Poverty Law Center, on top of perpetuating this widespread, decade-long, multi-million-dollar fraud, conducted more criminal activity. They attempted to hide their criminal activity from our financial banking network. They set up shell companies and entities around America so that the financial institutions that we rely on as everyday Americans were deceived in believing that money was not coming from the Southern Poverty Law Center in the perpetration of this scheme and fraud, but rather fictitious entities they stood up to perpetuate this ongoing fraud. This is a serious and egregious violation of a group that purported to dismantle violent extremist groups, but in turn actually only fueled the hatred. This is an important case brought by President Trump's administration. We're thankful for the president for his leadership and funding of not just the FBI and DOJ, but his commitment to go out there and wipe out fraud and conspiracy and waste and abuse wherever it occurs, including the Southern Poverty Law Center. Even though this money was made to appear to be coming from legitimate people and legitimate entities, we at the FBI, with our great partners at the Department of Justice and in the state of Alabama, were able to comb through a decade worth of material, a scheme that took a decade to build, so that we were able to follow the money, because money never lies, and they got caught. As the Attorney General said, these charges are varying, they are widespread and wide-ranging, and this investigation is very much ongoing. Today we're here to announce the charges of the Southern Poverty Law Center, and this investigation and the individuals who are responsible will be brought to justice. Thank you, General.
Just for people to get a clear view, right? I want people to wrap their heads around the amount of money that we're talking about. In 2016, the Southern Poverty Law Center had $51 million revenue going through its organization. After the Charlottesville, it jumped 80 million. There's a reason why the money jumped like that. There's a reason why that took place, right? So here's the thing, fam. Are we going to just go with the Republican talking points? Or are we going to go with the Democrat, whatever? You know, they're going to have a pushback. Some people are pushing back now. They're saying, well, hey, these are just informants they were paying. $3 million? You paid informants $3 million. First of all, the Southern Poverty Law Center is not the CIA, nor is it the FBI, nor is it a sheriff's department or some clandestine organization that's connected to law enforcement. It's a nonprofit. Like, it's not sanctioned to operate in that way. And if it was sanctioned to operate in that way, what's up with all the shell company money? Why are you hiding your money? So 11 counts. 6 of those counts are for wire fraud. 4 counts are false statements to the banks. And the 1 count of conspiracy to commit concealment, money laundering. And that's against concealing money from the Justice Department. We have to not just look at this as ideology. We cannot look at what's going on with these organizations. It's just Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal. We have to look at them as money-making entities. Look at them like Starbucks. That's how you have to look at BLM to understand it. Look at them as any other organization, as Walmart. What are they there to do? Make money. That's the number one goal. Make money. Stop. If you're still looking at these organizations and you're saying they're there for the cause that they said they're there for, they're there to help make America better and to feed the crippled children and to help the black people. If you're thinking that way, you are goofy. I just showed you $81 million increase that year after Charlottesville. Through the roof, baby. Through the roof. See, I understand. Look, some of y'all are good people, man, and I get it. You know, that's not the first thing you go to, but see, I want you to realize, you and I, we live in a capitalistic society where money, cash rules everything around me. Queen, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Your personal feelings, the warm and fuzzy feeling you get when you help somebody. There are people that are cozy just with their money, sitting right there with their money, by themselves with their money right here. They get a cozy feeling when they go to the bank or when they call up and check that bank statement and listen to that recording. Okay? So, the Southern Poverty Law Center, I'm looking at it like this. It's an ecosystem. The ecosystem is, you can't have the Southern Poverty Law Center without there being something hateful in the world. You have to have hate groups to have an organization to battle the hate groups. And you have to have an organization battling hate groups, and there has to be hate and there has to be victims for you to have a Democratic Party to be able to run on that shit.
Close your eyes. Remember what you saw on television. Remember seeing those neo-Nazis and Klansmen and white supremacists coming out of fields with lighted torches. And remember what the president said when asked?
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Their veins bulging.
He said specifically that he was condemning them.
No, he did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight. The veins bulging on their, as they were screaming. Remember, just close your eyes and picture what it was. Their veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Nazi sympathizers carrying Nazi fags. Veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Veins bulging. Veins bulging. How are you, baby? How old are you? Their veins bulging. Just their veins bulging. Bulging. Veins. Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. Their veins they're bulging. Their veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Veins just bulging. Bulging. Fewer.
Have you ever heard this president say one negative thing about white supremacists? Have you ever heard it?
Racism is evil.
Damn it.
And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as America.
You know what's funny about that clip? I think that's Maze. Give it up for Maze on Twitter, man, or X. There's so many people that have been watching corporate media, you know, MSNBC, CNN, MS Now, NPR, ABC, CBS. They've never heard Trump like discredit neo-Nazis or Klan or hate groups or whatever. They've never heard that before. And even if they hear it now, they've gone so far, like with the Democrats, they would just say it's a deep fake. Because they would not want to go all the way back and have to change their opinions. They believe whatever they were told, and they've been living on that for probably the better part of 10 years. And 10 years is a long time to go, and then find out you were fooled. One of the things that got me to stop being a lefty and stop riding for it, I still like certain policies, but I reported on that story in Charlottesville, and I got fooled into thinking it was real. It truly woke me up. because the Associated Press said the same thing that Biden said, which is the same thing that Obama said, that Trump said the neo-Nazis were good people too. And that's not what he said. In fact, he said the opposite, as you just heard. And I said, damn! I didn't look at the Associated Press as CBS or MSNBC. I looked at the Associated Press as the Associated Press. Hello. We are, Associated Press sounds, they're not gonna lie to me. Why would they lie to me? Why would they do that? Motherfucker, they lied like a rug. And I said, damn, and if they lying to me, who isn't? And I got Obama lying and Biden lying and everybody's lying and everybody's going along with the lie. They're not lying, they're going right along with it. And I said, damn it, Johnson. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done, you hear me? So that was part of the thing that got me really to truly become bitter with the Democrats and bitter with corporate media. That was it.
I just want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that. And so what the investigation found, according to the indictment that was returned today, is that they were paying. So the Southern Poverty Law Center is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism. And over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money they raised from donors to pay to, they called them field, basically to informants, for information, for access, to just pay them for certain, to do certain things. And so, yes, that's exactly what the indictment charges.
I cannot say, looking at this, that they got them dead to rights, Johnson. I'm not gonna go that far. I always take it with a grain of salt because I don't trust either side to give me all the information. But I'm not buying that whole thing that everyone's making this shit up and that they were just paying a few informants. This ain't Donnie Brasco, and one guy gets $10,000. You get a snitch by holding over their head something that could put them in jail. So $3 million is a lot of money to give anybody. And if you're giving money to an organization, how could you in good conscience give an organization you detest money to operate? So why would you pay a white supremacist group to operate unless it's all about the money? Like I said, have not drawn any definitive conclusions yet. There's still so much more to happen, but there are indictments. Now, what's the truth about indictments, guys? Well, famously, a lawyer once said, you can get a jury to indict a ham sandwich if you want to. And I forget who said it, but it's a very popular saying, meaning anybody can get an indictment if they want to. That's why whenever I'm covering cases and someone can't get an indictment, I know it's because they don't want to. That's how that works. It works both ways. It both discredits how much evidence you need in order to get an indictment, and it also diminishes the power or the veracity of an indictment because it goes both ways. So what I'm telling you, and this is more nuanced than you will get from CNN, because they're going to pick a side they want you to be on or pick a side they're on, and it's going to tell you that, and that'll be it. And Fox is going to pick a side that they're on. They might even tell you another side exists. And that goes to both of them. But this ain't Fox, and this ain't CNN. It's the Tim Black Show. And here I'm telling you the truth from the way I see it. I believe these non-government organizations, they want to exist. And I believe the Democratic Party wants to have something to run on. And I believe that Joe Biden, part of him running for office was this bullshit story. And you know what, fam? I got a funny feeling. But think about it like this. Barack Obama and Joe Biden have been riding on this lie because the lie was lucrative. And enough organizations, donors, causes, everyday working people were appalled by what they saw in Charlottesville. And then there was a woman who was killed. Her name was Heather Heyer. That situation had too much going for it. It was a perfect concoction. It was the perfect movie of the week for Democrats raising money. You had the Klan, neo-Nazis, people walking around doing actual swastikas and salutes. We had black people mad, upset, getting hit with sticks in the head from Klan members and neo-Nazis. We had a white woman killed. And we had Trump, the trifecta, the cherry on top, saying it was good people on both sides. And leaving that out there too long before saying, I'm not talking about, they had already cut it, spliced it, and sent that shit to Associated Press, NPR, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN had already started running it back to back to back. It was all over Twitter. It was on everywhere social media. It already went viral. With gasoline, that thing had taken off to the moon, Johnson. It's just like BLM. Just like BLM. Which came a few years later. And I think that Charlottesville gave the momentum. It gave the Democrats what they needed. And then they said, you know what? That lightning in the bottle we got with Charlottesville, one more again. Shout out to D'Angelo. One more again. They did it one more time. They did it again with the George Floyd. BLM. Breonna Taylor. See, I tell you, it's got to come. You got to have, one. You got Breonna Taylor. You got George Floyd. You need these things to stack on top of each other to create this perfect sandwich of deception to feed the public. And BLM ran and got the money. It funded it from non-government organizations. Candidates were running on it. People that should not even be politicians became politicians. Look at the fallout. We got people that don't have any business in public life who got their start on the BLM riots. So you to wrap your head around it all, it's always the same hustle. All of it was done on the strength of what? And what do they have in common, fam? What do we talk about on this show all the time? Let's run it one more time. It's a beautiful thing to be right. It's always useful. They use black struggle. The thing Charlottesville and the BLMs and the George Floyd, all of it was on the back of the blacks. See, Black American pain and suffering is what the Democrats always use. Southern Poverty Law Center. We'll see what happens, but fam, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I believe we're going to find some flames. So I already know it's going to be a lot of Democrats denying the possibility of this being true, is if they cannot wrap their head around conspiracy. They're going to justify $3 million going into the pockets of folks in these organizations, these hate groups that they gave money to. Where did they get the money from? Do you think people actually gave them money to give that money to hate groups? You're there to stop hate groups, to expose them, not to fund them. Whatever, I don't want to hear the shit. Don't tell me the bullshit. Oh, but he had to fund them in order for us to catch them. They had to be able to operate so we can stop them from operating. What? Sound like Snowfall. Yeah, that's sort of like what the CIA did. They funded the crack. They put the crack in the neighborhood, which killed a whole lot of black folks, ruined a lot of lives, just so they could. But see, the whole purpose was what was going on in Nicaragua. It was funding a war somewhere else. These people were just pawns. So this is where we get serious. We got to do some introspection. We got to think quietly to ourselves about it. How much do you trust the Democratic Party? Okay. Stupid question, right? Do you think the Democratic Party could have been in on the gamble, on the scam? I will say this, not every single Democrat, right? But I'm saying, I believe there's more to this than there's time to report. And I believe some of it's going to come out and they're to mess around and now the rabbit kicked the bucket. The bucket kicked the rabbit. The rabbit kicked the bucket. The bucket kicked the rabbit. Let me know what y'all think of this one. This one is a juicy one. It's a good one. I'm going on the record. I'm 70-30. I'm 70 degrees in. I'm in 70%. I'm pushing my chips to the center. I believe the Southern Poverty Law Center did give money to these organizations. I believe it is a hustle. I believe it always has been. And I believe a lot of those organizations, the USAID, US Aid Agency, same deal. Yeah. It's a hustle. And they all are doing a hustle. Hit the like button if you like the content so far. Let people know, let the algorithm know you're watching Tim Black Show. This is the most dangerous show in America. Why? Because we don't work for the Democrats or the Republicans.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America. Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.